from the ashes to school the masses. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 134. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. To my right is Scholar Tarek. What's up, sir? Is that Tarek for Goldberg hype?
Okay, I'll stop.
Okay, that's it. And we have a special guest in the Scholar studio. Unfortunately, Scholar Brian is out on assignment once again.
What are you talking about? He's still abducted by aliens.
That's what we call it here.
No. You. Well, with us, it's on assignment. But with Brian, he always gets abducted by aliens. Apparently, the aliens just don't like us enough to be abducted.
I guess not. He always had a connection with those aliens. But in the meantime...
He must have a very secure butthole.
Okay, I've got no good transition for that. Our special guest for this week, honorary scholar and good friend of the show, Dave. What's going on,
Speaking
sir?
of buttholes. Oh, love you, Dave.
Ooh.
I wasn't going to go there. What's up, sir?
No, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me here today, and I'm looking forward to talking some wrestling.
Oh, yes, and there's plenty to talk about, including some guy showing up, no big deal.
Some random stranger.
I don't know who it
who
was.
Probably the kids had to be reminded who he was. Apparently, the greatest WCW champion of all time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very funny joke, Michael Cole.
Yeah.
That's a hilarious
Goldman something? I don't know.
Gilbert?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it, Goldberg.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to that. First things first, we need to get into a tiny little bit of what we like to call backstage news.
Indeed, I don't know why you had to introduce it that way, but yeah,
For fun, sir, for fun.
All right, let's just go ahead and peek behind that curtain and check in on a little backstage news.
You catch on quick, sir.
That's what she said.
Oh, she's a whore.
2 minutes in, we're already at our first That's What She Said jokes. You'll fit in just fine around here, these parts.
And that's what she said, too.
Oh.
But,
Just talk about wrestling here.
okay, well, speaking of That's What She Said...
Yes. Oh,
I'm sure
yes.
that is what she said, because apparently Paige proposed to Alberto Del Rio / Alberto El Patron this week.
/ Alberto El Presidente, I think he's called now.
I don't care.
Me neither.
The man
of a thousand names.
Yes, thank you.
And leave it to a man to have your woman be the one proposing to you.
Oh, but that's not even the tricky part. Apparently, his divorce with his current wife, Del Rio's, is not finalized yet.
That's what makes this. That's what makes this even better. The man sucks at everything.
I smell sitcom.
She's the heiress to a British wrestling dynasty.
And this, my friend, is where the plot chickens.
You mean the plot thickens?
Yes, the plot chickens.
Yes, what you said.
Yes.
I like chickens.
Choky chicken. I love choky chicken.
Rocco references aside, everyone's been talking since this broke. Among other things, people have been talking about how on earth is this going to affect Paige's WWE career.
She still has a career?
At the moment, she's still technically employed.
Oh no! I'm saying that in the most sarcastic way possible, because once this second slap on the wrist gets all said and done, she's just going to get right in that third one, and they're just going to toss her out the door.
I don't think it really matters what her WWE career is, because she's pretty much made it public through social media that she don't care what happens to her WWE career in particular. I mean, because look at her, I guess, soon-to-be fiance or distant husband, father, mother, whatever. I don't know. But she'll go wherever he goes. So if he goes on any other independents that's not CMLL or AAA, then you'd imagine that there would be a package deal going forward. Kind of like how when John Morrison and Melina got let go, they were a couple. I don't know if they're still a couple, but they were.
I think they still are.
All right. Well, they were a package deal for a long time. So, as far as her WWE career goes, I think that question's irrelevant because I'm pretty much... I mean, I might be the only one here, but I see the signs on the wall that she's already gone. She's off of the opening package for Raw. Was her roster or SmackDown? Either way, she was off.
I never remember, honestly.
She was off of one of the opening packages.
I think
whatever.
she was Raw.
Okay, well, whatever brand she was on. She was off the opening package. I'm sure whatever commitments with Total Divas will finish, and that's pretty much it. So, WWE career, I think, is done. Pro wrestling career, if she recovers from whatever surgery she's been having, then it'll continue. For now, she'll just collect her royalties.
Is it that surgery the reason she looked so sickly that you talked about last week?
Yeah, there's that's one thing that's been heavily disputed. Some people are led to believe that she's having a bit of a drug problem, and that's actually one reason that her family may not necessarily approve of her relationship with Del Rio.
Yeah, but there's also a surgery video that she had posted on social media, I believe on her Twitter. Mm-hmm. It was actual footage of the surgery. It was either her Twitter or Instagram. Mm-hmm. It was posted out there, the video of surgery. How credible that is, I don't know. But then I also know on her Instagram account she had a picture with Del Rio right next to her while she was in a hospital, I guess, recovering. So, is it possible she had the surgery? I mean, I think she had the surgery. I just think she's... I mean, the drug problem might be painkillers, what a lot of wrestlers typically seem to fall under, which is a shame, but you don't know. And you would think, oh, it's a woman wrestler. What kind of injuries does she really get? Well, no, they still take the same bumps as guys do. So, I mean, having wrestled myself, I want to kind of give her the benefit of the doubt of this is legitimate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Also, I'm not saying it's not.
Right, but also as a former wrestler, I guess you want to put it that way, you also know kind of like, I don't want to say the tell-all signs, but when they have a problem, and it's very very possible she does have, and she did look sickly in that engagement video. Like, dangerously skinny, I mean, I would say pale face, but really
you really can't tell with Paige, yeah.
I don't know. I just hope whatever's going on in her life, she gets better with it.
And I don't think Del Rio is exactly the right direction.
No, but she's young, naive, and stupid. And that's all of us when we're in love at like a really young age. And there might be other
23.
Older than that.
I know she was in her early 20s when she first arrived.
She first arrived at like 19, I think. Had her main TV debut, I think 21.
Yeah, that's right.
And then she's been on television more than 2 years, so I would think she's about 24, 25 at this moment.
All right. Well,
but either way, it's still you're young, you're stupid, you're in love, and who knows what other backstage crap's going on, that he might have been her only companion. She may not have gotten along with the other divas or women's wrestlers. Who knows? But it's just not good for her, I think, in the long haul. Not even professionally, but maybe personally too.
And that'll probably just be by the time maybe she'll just retire early, and then we'll just get the True Hollywood story to an extent of Paige.
I certainly hope it doesn't come to that. She's got way too much talent, in my opinion, to let it go to waste on anything, whether it's injury or distractions or whatever the case may be. Honestly, Paige is way too much promise.
And not for nothing, if she's posting these pictures and sayings underneath the pictures for like with Alberto at the hospital, he's obviously leaving his current wife as a result of infidelity and probably other stuff too. What makes you believe that he won't do the same thing to you?
And that's the problem.
Yes.
She probably isn't seeing that.
Exactly. She's young and stupid.
Well, hopefully she'll mature in time.
I hope so. Hopefully it won't take that degree of error in order to see that. But hey, again, thankfully, one thing I can say for us, we're not TMZ. We don't need to speculate. Only time will tell. As far as us as wrestling fans, Godspeed, ma'am. Get well soon, and hopefully we'll see you back in the ring very soon. In the meantime, You know who else we're going to see back in the ring very soon? TNA. Because apparently word just broke earlier this week that the Fight Network, not only were they the contributors to keep TNA running, they were the benefactors that got Bound for Glory out to the races, along with the last round of TV tapings. They have also been totally financing TNA, and they've also been paying off Billy Corgan's the debts to Billy Corgan. So for the Fight Network, and for the time being, it looks like TNA will continue to live on, at least through the new year.
Now it's just the question on how much longer can this sinking ship stay afloat. Seriously, we've been talking about it as if the handlebars of this ship was the only thing left standing, and just it's slowly rising back up. But the question is, how long?
And I don't listen to a lot of other podcasts, but like radio shows I will. On Busted Open Radio, they had a comment where TNA has been in its best shape creatively over the last 6-month period than it has in the last several years. I tend to agree with that. Like, I've written blogs of like, okay, let's give them a chance, because they have great talent on their roster. They got, Drew Galloway, they have Bobby Lashley, Eddie Edwards is their new champion, which, for Ring of Honor fans, for Super Indie Smarks, it's a big deal. Abyss is, I like the Decay group. You have the Hardys, who they're like a fine wine. They get better as they get older. Like, they're reinventing themselves at this late stage in their career, and I got to give them credit for that. Whether you like it or not, I give them credit for at least doing something that's getting them over again. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I agree that creatively TNA has probably been the best it's been in the last 5-6 years. They have the roster to execute whatever they need to execute, but the finances have always been a problem. And with the Billy Corgan lawsuit that had just gone through, I don't know. I mean, somebody else needs to take the helm, though. Not Dixie. Now the whole thing with Corgan being president is obviously out the window. So now you're back at square one. Financially, maybe not, but management-wise, you are. And as per the show that I've before mentioned, a lot of guys in the locker room are not happy that she's still in power.
Mm-hmm. She just has to, simply put, get a clue. You are, I guess, pulling a WWE card. You are not what's best for business. Far from it. Mm-hmm. And the sooner, I think we've even talked about this on the show before. We like the idea of what, when it was the whole rumor going around with Vince McMahon, WWE wanting to buy just the video library and the name, and Billy Corgan was just going to basically start brand new.
The Meek Man.
The Meek Mahan.
Meek Mahan. I'm one of those guys. I agree with what you said, Dave, about the Hardy Boys rebranding themselves. I agree with that. It's just I'm not connecting with it. But back to what I was saying, I would have liked to see what Billy Corgan would have done with what they had, and how he would basically start from the ground up with a new wrestling company. Dixie's just being very selfish.
Yes.
And you know what? Not for nothing, this story is still not over yet.
Not even close.
No, there's still a lot of things are still very much up in the air. Really, it just seems like the Fight Network is just going to keep it afloat for the time being. And from what I understand, all the lawsuits have sort of been put on hold because of this. I don't know how exactly that works legally. I'm not a lawyer, but again, as soon as you think the TNA life support train is gone, just something new comes up.
Yeah, I mean,
new way for it to use that antidote for that lethal dose of poison that is Dixie Carter.
Oh, good Lord. I will say, though, God bless new media. Between the Fight Network and Fight TV, another app, same thing, different spelling, whatever. And I'm glad that, everyone's just like, I've seen people on Twitter be like, God, let him just die already. No, don't. Because I like to see that this is continuing. It gives employment to the boys if they get paid, which they never do, if Dixie has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, just a train of thought. But it gives them work. It gives them another place to kind of showcase their talents. I think EC3 is one of the most underrated top caliber talents out there because he had to reinvent himself once he got let go from WWE, and he's made it work. Same thing with Drew Galloway. I mean, he's another top guy that's really over and has shown that, you know what, he can carry the load if given the chance. TNA, even though it's been a screwy circus over the last several years, I hate to beat a point with a dead horse. Over the last 8 months, it's creatively been a lot better. I like the new Grand Championship that they have with Sandow holding it. I like the concept. It's like World of Sport. You get rounds. I still think they should do 5-minute rounds like a typical UFC championship fight. But with that being said, I mean, they were going in the right direction. So, you know what? If Fight TV wants to keep paying for their stuff, somebody else needs to be in charge of the helm. Get Dixie out of charge or out of any position of importance within the company, and just going from there. That's it. You need a new direction, and you know what? Fight TV is a good partner. Instead of trying to beat new digital media, we'll partner with it. That'll be a good selling point. But that's neither here or there. So God bless, Fight Network. Thank you for keeping competition alive.
Oh yeah, bingo. And hopefully, if Billy Corgan sticks around long enough to really turn this sinking ship around.
I don't see him going anywhere.
I sincerely hope not. I
think he got a restraining order. They got a restraining order, right?
Yeah.
On TNA and its partner companies.
On Dixie Carter.
No, on all of its partner companies too. Dixie Carter, her husband, and a couple other people.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to go. With the condition that if he comes back, it's in the condition that the Carter family resigns and goes away. So she needs to do what's best for business and get the hell out of there.
Every single time something comes up, this train just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder. But anyway, enough of the weirdness. Let's get to the good kind of weird. Because apparently a few interesting names just popped up at the Performance Center at WWE this week.
Yes.
Yes. Dave, why don't you tell us about who's coming in?
Well, the one that I will tell you about that I am so over the moon about is Crazy Mary Dobson. She is one of... If you guys remember a few years back, Cheerleader Melissa was one of the top women independent wrestlers out there. I
remember Cheerleader Melissa.
She would go with... She's still out there, but she was so famous before it was cool, just going at it with the boys and even going harder. Like, she would beat the crap out of you. Crazy Mary had a gimmick where it completely... And she pulls it off so well. Basically what Nikki Cross is doing now with the new Sanity gimmick on NXT, but just... better because it's a reflection off of who she is. For those who don't follow independent wrestling or those who do, she was dating, I believe, Ian Rotten, head of IWA Mid-South. But that being said, it's just a breeding ground for like trying to hone her character and make it for what it is. I don't even know if she was dating or really close related, whatever, but I'm proud that she's there. She really deserves it. Now I just hope they kind of let her be her. Where the new trend of WWE and NXT has been let people do what they're to do. Samoa Joe's a great example. Nakamura, Hideo Itami before he finally got hurt again.
That's a shame.
I know, it is a shame. Sad.
But they were finally letting him be Kenta. Not Hideo Itami where they were trying to mold him into something. No, he's being Kenta. That's what you have to do. Let them be what got them to the dance. And that's it. This is no exception. So,
well, I don't know if you'll like this or not, but I heard the big rumor that she actually wants to go in and be the new Sister Abigail.
I am so for it.
Good. Because I was like, with you were saying, let her be herself. I'm like, okay, well, she's planning on going on and like wanting to be Sister Abigail.
Have you seen any of Crazy Mary Dobson at all?
Only small bits.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen a couple matches, but not a huge amount.
Nothing. Yeah.
If after the recording's over, go and look at YouTube. There have been some creepy promos that she's done. One I remember that she just doesn't talk. She just like gives you like these looks and like she connects with you.
Mm-hmm.
If that rumor is true, I'm for it because she could pull that off so well. Just being that creepy, sinister.
With how you're explaining it, I could actually see like her debut happening where I don't even know, maybe during this Randy Orton Kane feud, which we'll probably talk about later for SmackDown.
Right.
It'll definitely, her debut will definitely be at a pay-per-view event, and once Bray looks like he may actually lose, all of a sudden you do the and then all of a sudden you start hearing, I guess, more demonic music, and you see her in a silver sheet mask at the entrance ramp, like in a dress.
I'd imagine her looking like the Painted Lady.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be
Painted
interesting.
Lady attire with the big hat and just like draped outfit and stuff.
Oh, I picture her like in a silver wedding-esque dress, just standing there, silver sheet mask, and then she just lifts it up and just gives Bray Wyatt the moment and the power to pull pull finishing move, Sister Abigail, and win 1, 2, 3. And then you just
I can just see her doing it to whomever it is. As crazy as that sounds, but they're starting to let women get a little physical with the guys. I could see her pulling the Sister Abigail on somebody just for no reason other than just, yeah, this is my move.
You can see Sister Abigail pulling a Sister Abigail.
Yes. Which would be pretty freaking sweet. But you know what? It has to be at a pay-per-view, though.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would have to be at Survivor Series.
I could see that.
You can't...
A big name pay-per-view, anyway.
Yeah.
One of the big four. Yes.
And honestly, with the Wyatt family, the whole mystery's been Sister Abigail. Is she alive? Is she dead? Is she coming back? The whole thing. Like, you're going to have more eyes drawn to that pay-per-view just if the Goldberg-Lesnar match does happen at Survivor Series. You're already getting more eyes on that pay-per-view by default. So I would think if you want something that big to come across and finally come full circle, you would do it at a pay-per-view like Survivor Series when all eyes are going to be on that pay-per-view. So, if that's true, great. If not, I'm just glad she's in WWE finally. Because that rumor's been circulating for over a year now, but now it's good to see that she's finally back. Or here.
Yeah, and this other name this is one of the big ones that really jumped out at me. I haven't seen too much of this guy, but I know other people have. Tommy End.
Good talent.
Yeah.
Very good talent.
This one I do not know.
He's over from England, I believe, or somewhere overseas. Very good talent. I haven't seen a lot of his work, but from what I see, I could see him belonging. Look, we know what NXT is doing. WWE more so, but what NXT is doing. They are bringing all the big super indie names in, or they're trying to build this massive mega super roster that it's cool for the time being, but how's it going to work later? Like, for example, Apollo Crews had a great run in NXT. I think it killed him when he had that series of matches with Balor, because there's nothing else to go from there.
A part of me really doesn't want to agree with that. I like with Apollo Crews, he didn't really make that much of an impact and really do much in NXT. And this is one thing that's always been a big complaint with me, is that he was one of the names that he showed up, he did like maybe just a small handful of matches, and then they immediately called him up before he was able to establish himself as anything. So now he's now more as just he's now jobber talent, really.
Yeah, I agree. But Balor, the whole series, you can't go much further than that. He had good matches with Finn Balor.
Oh, but yes, he did.
But now you lost to the NXT champion. Where do you go from there? And when they brought him over to Raw, or to the main roster, they just didn't know what to do with him. Now
they had nothing to do with him.
But that's the other thing. This is what I'm kind of trying to get at. But I kind of diverted the conversation. You get guys like Joe Nakamura, Rude, Young, Roderick Strong, Aries. You have all these big name talents that have been on the Indies for years. Headliners at Ring of Honor, all of their company TNA. But they're there. Then you move them to the main roster. What are you doing with them? Look at Tyler Breeze. He immediately went from main roster move to jobber like pretty much overnight.
Oh, I knew that was going to happen to him. This, the first time I saw him, I'm like, he is. I like Tyler Breeze. I like his character. I like that he teamed up with Fandango. I like the team. Was it Fandango? Like Fanbreeze, Breezango. I liked that tag team. Yeah. It's gone now. I don't know where the hell they are.
I think they're still together.
They are.
Superstars are made.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's an interesting point. Yes, he went to the main roster. Yes, he's sort of superstars level. But one thing I'm going to put out there is the question, what's wrong with that? With the sheer amount of wrestling talent that they're cultivating in NXT, it's just a simple fact of the sheer numbers that they're producing. Not everyone is going to be a main event. They may have the talent to be a main event, but because there's so many great wrestling and great wrestlers consolidated in one place, there can only be one champion. At least one champion per show.
To correct myself, not to cut you off, Tommy End is from the Netherlands.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I only see maybe three names right now that I can see being, when they go up to the main roster, being main event stars. Samoa Joe, Nakamura, and if he starts getting polished correctly, which I actually see it's happening, Bobby Roode.
Dave Meltzer saying that Nakamura should have gotten an AJ Styles deal where he just goes right away to the main roster. But whether you agree or disagree, kind of getting off track, I apologize for that. But yeah, that's neither here or there. I think though, the point that I'm trying to get at, they're bringing all these talent in. I agree with your point, Jeff, that okay, there's only one champion, so many guys could be main event, but it seems like they're overstocking, and there's so much supply, but I don't want to say little demand, but there's only so much that they can do. You know what I mean? They have all these talents. You're building NXT into its own roster. Well, let me, before I get onto my rant, want to get onto the third name there, Jeff?
Yeah, this one I don't know really at all.
Big Damo.
Big Damo. You know this guy too?
Big Damo O'Connor out of Northern Ireland. Another guy overseas. WWE is signing a lot of these overseas talents. And, for people who don't know, these three people are chosen out of probably about good 36 talents that were personally invited by WWE to come to these tryouts. It used to be you had to pay, I think, when I spoke to somebody, $300 just to get a tryout with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's gotten to the point where it's pretty much invite only. You can't pay your way to get a tryout anymore. You are invited. It's pretty much how it works now. But these three, and it's funny that there's three out of, let's say 36 for argument's sake. There was a video on, I think, Facebook Live that they posted of people doing basic drills. There was a lot of guys and girls there. Crazy Mary was the one girl, and these two guys from the Netherlands and Northern Ireland, respectively, got chosen too.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something that they want to bring you into the company.
Mm-hmm.
But again, how much is too much? I'm happy that they're there, but they're not even growing homegrown talents like Ty Dillinger. He's got potential. He's a good talent. He's got a great gimmick, and he's got the charisma that can ooze out of anywhere. But you're oversaturating yourself with these huge, hyped indie names that you're your own third brand by itself. It's not a developmental territory anymore. It's another company, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, and I know I'm rambling, and I'm sorry. To Tommy and Big Damo and Crazy Mary, congratulations. Welcome to the big time, and let's hope that it treats you well.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I think what you were saying, because of them getting the indie names, I think that's what the brand split, that's where they benefit with the brand split.
But they do the same stuff every week with the same handful of people.
But once they go up to the main roster, things will change, and all the basically lower card talent will just be thrown out of there, pretty much. Thrown into superstars, thrown into main event.
Mm-hmm. I think this ultimately comes down to, I don't want to say cash flow, but I guess in this case it would be talent flow, just to see what the kind of turnover is going to be for the future. If, let's say, Nakamura is primed and ready for a debut on the main roster come January, which I'm honestly, I'd be shocked if they don't do that.
Surprise Rumble entrant?
He'll be a Rumble entrant. Same thing with Bobby Roode. I think he's a very strong candidate at this point.
I think the three names I mentioned, Nakamura, Roode, and Joe, are Royal Rumble.
I would keep Joe in NXT. As much as I'd like to see him on the main roster, he's one of those guys like Adam Pearce, who's a talent agent in NXT right now. Prince Albert, I don't even know what his real name is. Prince Albert is a great head trainer over at the Performance Center. But you have Joe, who can communicate.
Matt Bloom,
thank you.
I'll still say Prince Albert.
He's Prince Albert.
He is Prince Albert.
He's A-Train.
Please, he's Lord Tensai. Get it right.
No matter what gimmick he has, he always has the same problem.
He's the hip-hop hippo.
Yes, he needs to shave his back. But either way, with that being said...
He did shave his back for Lord Tensai.
He did. That was very impressive.
He shaves everything. Except his facial hair.
Yeah, he had like a Fu Manchu thing going on.
Eyebrows.
That was weird.
But, yeah. But he would be... I don't even think as an agent, but I think Joe would be beneficial as a coach. Like how Sarah Del Rey is basically the main women's coach, assistant coach to the main, to the other talents there too. Mm-hmm. I think he would benefit that way, and he could help get talent. I mean, he'll be that bigger name in NXT for a while, but yeah, I don't think he's. And I know I'm going to get crap for this. He's not the draw like Nakamura, Roode, Eric Young, even with Sanity. I know it's very early for that. The Revival, I don't think he has that marketing draw.
I think he does. I do.
Yeah, it's all a matter of, again, there's so much talent, just about anyone can succeed. It's just a matter of who they have a slot for, who they have a role for, and who ultimately gets over with the mainstream crowd.
I mean, come on, who doesn't want to see a Samoa Joe versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship?
I don't. I'm not a
I think that would be fun.
I think that would be awesome.
Even if you're not a Ziggler fan, think about it. It's 15-20 minutes of Samoa Joe beating up Dolph Ziggler, Mr. Rubberman. It's like
only if
it could be fun.
But anyway,
hey, maybe he will. You can always dream. But anyway,
I love Ziggler.
It was all a dream. Anyway, one last thing I'm actually surprised I never got the chance to mention on a Backstage news. Have you heard anything about how Wrestle Kingdom 11 is going?
Only through you is when I find out about Wrestle Kingdom
over 11. In New Japan. Well, what I long suspected has officially been confirmed a little while ago. The main event of Wrestle Kingdom 11 in January for the title, Okada versus our boy Kenny Omega.
Let's go, Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okada killed Kenny. You bastard.
Oh, he better not. He better not.
Oh, no. This is a big match. It's going to be a good, long, maybe half an hour.
I certainly hope so. Both these guys have it in them. But my quick little scholar's quick talk. Do you think Kenny Omega will win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom 11 in the main event?
I think so.
It's possible. I mean... Omega's so over there right now, but you also have to think that guys like Okada brought New Japan back to its promise, like to its peak. They resurrected with the help of AJ Styles and
Nakamura,
yeah, I mean a whole plethora of talent.
And let's not forget Toru Yano.
No, and is it one of those things where Kenny Omega is pretty much the new guard? You got to think of it this way too. If WWE is hunting down Omega, like they're claiming that these reports, and I'm quoting my fingers here, that they say that they're wanting to bring him in. I don't know if they do it. I mean, is it a prime position for Kenny Omega and the Bullet Club to have the title again? Yeah, but I don't know. I just want to have fun watching the match. I honestly, as much as I think Okada should take it, Omega I think will win, and we'll all be very happy with the quality of the wrestling.
Oh, absolutely! It's Wrestle Kingdom. It's very rarely bad. Just in the few that I've seen so far, it'll be great. But anyway, that's enough for Backstage news for this week because there's still a few things on the
WWE programming,
including. All right, no more dancing around the issue. Let's just talk about it. Goldberg is back. Now I don't know about you guys, but I was like, okay, Goldberg's coming back. That should be cool. But by the time I actually saw him come out through the backstage area, started snorting the smoke and everything. It's the Goldberg chants were going, the music was going. I was like, suddenly I'm 8 years old again.
What I liked about it is, I geeked out too because yes, I wasn't a huge WCW fan, but I knew Bill Goldberg. It's kind of hard. There's like few names wrestling fans know: DDP, NWO, Bill Goldberg, and Sting, and Ric Flair. And that's it. That's all I got.
Please. You're right. Disco Inferno. You're right. Okay.
Damn right.
Mortis.
Disco Fever.
Mortis.
Mortis. Who better than Mortis?
But what I liked about with Goldberg returning is it didn't feel like a character. It felt like Bill Goldberg coming out, letting us know how he feels, and I was even joking. He's like, yeah, it's like, oh, you were expecting me to take the challenge, but my last match was 12 years ago, dude. I haven't wrestled in that long. You really think I can go in there and face someone like Brock Lesnar who trains through this shit like a madman? And he did kind of hint at that, and I was like, oh my god, he's really not going to accept. But then when he talked about not like going through this and being the superhero for the kids again, the kids looked up to me, and I was like, and he started getting all emotional when the fans are cheering for him. Like, this is Goldberg's best promo, and everyone's been saying it now, but yeah, I agree. I am one of those to add to it. This really was a great promo by Goldberg, even though he did mess up the name of the video game, 2K WWE 17. I was like, I'll give that one a pass.
Yeah, that wasn't the biggest infraction.
That was it. That was it. But that's just the fun little, you just messed up the name of the game. But I liked how it ended. It is like, I think I have one more spear left in me. I have one more jackhammer left in me. Brock Lesnar, you're not just next, you're last. And I'm just like, okay, I'm sold. I love it. Is Goldberg gonna beat Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series? I highly doubt it.
I sure hope so. Because really, I think they've overbuilt up Brock Lesnar at this point.
To a point where I'm bored.
Yeah,
I get bored with him now.
Yeah. So I know it's really kind of early, but I personally think that they're gonna have Goldberg beat Brock, and then they're both gonna ride off into the sunset until the next big payday
Goldberg,
comes
maybe, not Lesnar.
No
way.
You have thoughts, sir?
It was one of the more real promos you'll see out of somebody who's coming back. Like, okay, Brock's back for the money. Brock's back for this, for that. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, it almost felt like it was one of those last minute decisions, like when Goldberg was out there. Like, it was never really confirmed nor denied that he was going to actually take this match. But he had to feel the energy of the crowd and kind of go with that and see how it goes from there. The only thing I ever ask of is, please, for the love of God, do not replicate what WrestleMania 20 was. I don't think at 47, I think Goldberg is, or 49, I don't think he could handle Suplex City. That's my only question about him is his body's durability. He just had 2 knee surgeries. He had another procedure done, I think. I will say, I disagree with Jeff. I don't think Goldberg beats Brock. Now, typical in wrestling fashion, if your retirement match normally goes out with a loss.
Yeah.
Because you're putting the next guy over. As Paul Heyman pointed out in his promos, and he makes things so easy to follow. I don't understand why people are like, oh, this is Paul Heyman, he's cutting a great promo. He leaves clues. Always.
No, yep.
Always.
That's what makes him so brilliant.
Goldberg is that one blemish on Brock Lesnar's record. How can you build up the guy who's the 9th mayor of Suplex City? How can you build him up to be this great guy? Like, he defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have Brock Lesnar lose, because it makes 0 sense, to Goldberg, who's just going to have 1 match. Latest rumor is maybe 2 at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
If Goldberg comes back for a second match,
it's obvious.
Okay.
It's obvious.
If Goldberg wins, you're getting another match, and Brock takes it at WrestleMania. Because then that's where the blemish happened. Unless they wait until WrestleMania for that match. Give Goldberg more time to kind of get into shape to wrestle. Or wait till Royal Rumble at the Alamo Dome and sell that out. We don't know this yet because it's all just mere speculation. They never confirmed it at Survivor Series, at this, at that. And at the way that they're overhyping the Royal Rumble already, it's possible. It's very possible. But back to my original point. For making sense in wrestling, you can't have Goldberg beat Brock unless there is another match.
Oh yeah, I agree. If it's the second match, if there is a second match, actually, I'm actually thinking it the other way around with what you said, Dave. I think Goldberg will lose the first one and then regain the redemption win.
But you can't do that though either way, because to me, I mean, I'm biased because I'm a Brock fan. I don't care what PEDs he did, anything else like that. He's still Brock Lesnar. He was the next big thing. He's the beast incarnate, the 1 in 20, 3 in 1. Come on, I mean, for me, I'm like, ooh,
and I'm wearing
an Undertaker shirt.
Really,
so.
Really think about it. Would a loss actually hurt him?
Yes.
No, it won't. Absolutely not.
So then what about the guy who comes in and beats him, whether it be like a Kevin Owens, a Roman Reigns maybe, anybody? What credibility is that if you're thinking about in a long grand scheme of things? Yeah, he has lost, but it's to The Undertaker, not somebody who has taken off 12 years and in no way, shape, or form should even be able to compete, let alone beat Brock.
Well,
there's that blemish still on him then, because it's like, okay, well, he lost to Goldberg, and Goldberg hadn't wrestled in 12 years. So, what sense does that make?
Again, I think this is really a case of how do they sell it. Because if they sell him, Goldberg gets in really good shape, I mean, the name even when you just hear the name Goldberg, it's got weight to it. There's a lot of a reputation of just being this big, unstoppable badass when you're talking about Goldberg. So if he's in the proper shape and he gets sold in the right way, there might be a case where it could be enough to make it look convincing, or to do any number of things. I do think, however, right now it's a little bit too early to tell. All I know is I'm still very excited about Goldberg. I'm really looking forward to this match.
Agreed.
And also, I don't even think... I think Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg want the WrestleMania 20 match to be no more. I think this is them wanting to redeem for that...
I certainly hope so.
Train wreck of a match.
I want to see them fix that legacy.
Right the wrong.
Mm-hmm. Right the wrong. Exactly.
And actually have a match instead of... Mm-hmm. I'm going to use the Fool here. Nope. Let's try this again. Nope. How about a shoulder block? Nope. All right, let's do power moves now. Let's do our signature moves. Wait, what?
Wait, what are we doing?
Why are you guys not trying? You're not even trying. Damn you!
And that's when the booing starts.
Damn you! All the hell!
Speaking of which,
they gave us a match everyone wanted to see, but then it wasn't the one we wanted. No. To hell with you.
Speaking of which, the match that I kind of did want this match. Speaking of damning someone to hell, we're finally getting something that I personally have wanted to see for years. A women's Hell in a Cell match. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. I gotta say, I'm completely excited about this. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts?
I want to be excited about this. I'm honestly not.
Why is that?
I don't know why. It's just, I know these two can go the distance, but I honestly don't even want I didn't even want a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view back, because now it's just reached the point where it doesn't feel. Granted, Sasha Banks and Charlotte have had the feud to build up, the correct feud to build up for a Hell in a Cell match with how personal it's getting. But like I said, I want to be pumped for this. But the more I think about it, I'm just thinking I'm just going to see one big letdown of a match.
Yeah, I think I've got more of a problem with how the match is being built. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view as a concept. It's obviously not going to be an Attitude Era level Hell in a Cell match. And just the way that they're building up as just like the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, even though that's a great thing and I love the idea, it's not the sort of blood feud ender that it could be. At least that Hell in a Cell matches typically are. It's not the worst thing they could have done. It's certainly not bad in my eyes. But again, this is the first of its breed, and I think they have a lot of things they can do better.
If it wasn't on a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and if it was just like these two are just throwing themselves to a point where they have no choice but to put them in a Hell in a Cell, I'll probably be a little more pumped for it. But because it's the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and they have to make Hell in a Cell matches, we're just going to throw these two in it. Just because we need Hell in a Cell matches because it's the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. That's why I don't like the Hell in a Cell. That's why I liked the idea of Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell WrestleMania. It's because it's being used for a story. It's not being used for a gimmick pay-per-view specifically.
I mean, going to what you say, I don't think in this brand split, Hell in a Cell, I don't think it belongs as a pay-per-view. Because, okay, you have Raw with the Hell in a Cell, then give SmackDown the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I think that's the way. But I think Elimination Chamber... Let's put it this way. We're back to the top... I know I'm going off topic. Now we're back to a big five. Rumble, Mania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank. That's going to be it. But with that being said, I feel that I also agree with Tarek in the sense of I'm not excited for this because it feels forced.
That's exactly it.
It feels... I mean, between Sasha and Charlotte going out there being like, oh, well, women will main event a pay-per-view. Women will do that. Okay, I get it. You guys had a great run in NXT. You've done okay on the main roster. Now, the match where Sasha won the title back with Charlotte was awesome. The WrestleMania match was probably the match I think that saved that particular WrestleMania because that card was just awful. Plus, it was 5 hours long, but that's besides the point.
We've made that perfectly clear on this show.
Way too long.
So, but not only is it inside a Hell in a Cell, to what I understand, it's confirmed to be the main event of the show.
Mick Foley actually withdrew that. Now he's not. He's still deciding whether or not to.
Oh no, I would not make it the main event. I'm sorry. It's not a sexist comment. For anybody who's listening, please hear me out. It's not that they don't deserve it. It's forced. Okay, main event on Monday Night Raw. That's one thing, because that match could be a headliner of Monday Night Raw. And I'm sure that a Women's Hell in a Cell match could headline the pay-per-view. But it just feels so forced, the Women's Revolution thing, where on SmackDown Live, every woman on that roster has a feud, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Carmella and Nikki Bella's feud. I know I'm jumping to SmackDown for a second. Carmella and Nikki Bella's feud. Naomi kind of getting mixed in with Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch in the title picture.
Well, while Becky Lynch is gone, yeah.
Right, but still,
it makes sense.
It makes sense, and it feels natural because there's time to build it. Where it's like, honestly, I feel the feud, and if you didn't have the quality of match that you had on that one Raw where Sasha won the title back, okay, maybe I would feel that this match would be like, okay, this one can redeem the rest of the matches, or it can redeem the feud. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for that one stellar. But how do you top that? You can't top that Raw match. I'm sorry. And especially in a PG era Hell in a Cell match. Again, I'm not one of those like, oh, TV 14 is better. I don't necessarily agree with that. But
if the Hell in a Cell matches were on rare occasions and where you can, in a way, pull that extremeness out of, like, as far as you can go with the PG rating, then yes. But you can't do that when you have multiple Hell in a Cell matches for pretty, like I said, a gimmick pay-per-view.
If it was a Hell in a Cell match at like a Backlash or something, well, I don't know, it's a SmackDown period, but for example, if it was at a Backlash and a Hell in a Cell match there was only one, with Sasha and Charlotte, I'd be okay with it being the main event. But
because it's the gimmick pay-per-view, mm-hmm. I'm agreeing with what you said. It's forced.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Totally agreed.
And I think that's what takes away my enjoyment in it. Because, like I said, I want to like this. I just can't, because it just... And it's always the one with you... I guess we can somewhat transition to SmackDown, but with this, going with what you're saying with the SmackDown women's roster, I think it's a lot better. Because it's an actual roster, not just Charlotte and Sasha Banks. And every once in a while, Bayley and Dana Brooke.
She doesn't belong on TV.
Dana Brooke.
Dana Brooke.
Yeah, I agree with you.
She doesn't belong. But anyway, sorry, not to cut you off, but to finish my thought really quick.
Mm-hmm.
With
go ahead.
When they were doing the promo, like, oh, you're getting a Hell in a Cell. I thought they were going to do a lockdown situation where it'd be like, well, you know what? Might as well put every match in a Hell in a Cell. Now, even if they did that, where every match was in Hell in a Cell, it's gimmicked, it's forced. But then I could justify it a little bit more. Sasha, Charlotte being main event. Because it's not like, okay, you're not trying to upstage the other 2 Hell in a Cell matches, you're upstaging the other 7 or 6 matches on the card. So, it's all equal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, but either way, I don't know. I hate to poo-poo on you, Jeff. But I do agree with Tarek.
But you're gonna poo-poo on me anyway, aren't you?
Yes.
So, please, not here, not in front of me. Please don't poo-poo all over.
Think of the children, please.
It's a good thing right now it's not a visual show, because that would just be too much. Come on.
Anyway, since we just transitioned into SmackDown, there is one thing on SmackDown that I think does warrant a little bit of discussion. James Ellsworth did it again. He defeated AJ Styles by disqualification. But he still beat AJ Styles.
Hey, they even pointed out, Ellsworth, I can't say it out, Ellsworth, has more wins in WWE than Sting.
I know that.
I'm like,
what a record.
What a record. I know it's just he's just the tool of Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles, but My God.
Did you see the report too that his shirt is outselling a lot
Yes.
of the main roster people?
Including Roman Reigns.
Yes.
That's the most shocking one because okay, I mean design wise his merch is pretty cool. But it's a face of the guy who has no chin. Like he's he's the anti Jay Leno. And you see his face on a T-shirt. It looks like something out of Looney Tunes with the big circle. And you're waiting for like a Porky Pig to kind of come underneath the chin and be like, "That's all, folks." Next day, but in all seriousness, the whole thing with Ellsworth. If there's one thing that out of all this that has just sold me, I have my new favorite finisher: the no chin music. But anyway, but did you watch the main event, right?
Yes, I did. It was a really good
How entertaining was that?
It actually was it was a fun match to watch.
It wasn't a scientific classic at all, but the entertainment value by itself, with Ambrose he's finally being Dean Ambrose. Like, he's not being fed lines, he's being who he is, and that's what got him to the dance. Like, as I said at the top of the show with certain people.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems so natural. It flows better. And they work so well together chemistry-wise. It's ridiculous. And the fact that James Ellsworth is so over with the crowd. A, SmackDown doesn't have a chance to edit its noise reactions. So that's a plus.
That's good. That's a big plus.
And it just was so... How often now, in this era in particular, where you have the whole crowd engaged in the main event, and it doesn't have to be a wrestling classic, like a scientific classic. They're captivated by the moment.
Exactly. That is exactly right.
And it was amazing.
Honestly, it was just... I was on the edge of my seat. I knew what the result was going to be, but it's the way the... Like, we know the end point. We just the whole trip of getting there. It was a one hell of a ride.
It was fantastic. I loved it. I hope he comes back next week.
I think, given how
over he is, I see him getting a contract.
Yeah, really.
He's gonna be on the roster.
Yeah, make him
an actual talent.
Yeah,
even make him a referee. I don't care.
Do something with him.
Hell, he's the only jobber for Braun Strowman to get over.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually worked with the one... you were at the show with Johnny Knockout.
Yeah.
It was big, sweaty men.
Oh, brother.
Dude, I mean, he was a weird cat when I was wrestling with him, but that crap just took the cake. I mean...
Crap cake.
Pretty much. But yeah, I mean... If not for nothing, that was the highlight of the show. But if I can maybe add on another point, I don't know how much of Alexa Bliss you may have watched in NXT. To see her growth come from where she was in NXT to now being where she is right now, I wouldn't even be upset if she beat Becky Lynch for the title.
Neither would I.
Which I actually think, which actually we talked about this for what was the pay-per-view Backlash that was just
No Mercy.
No Mercy. We talked about this, and I said she has the potential. She is amazing. I just think there was too early to get the title, and now that she's actually having time to develop her character on the main roster, I'm actually all for her. Becky getting losing the title,
and Naomi's enhancing it too, because I mean, commentators will put over whatever they're told to put over, but Naomi backs up that she is
backs up because she has a big butt.
She has a, pardon me in saying it this way, she has a fat ass, and it's fantastic. But either way, right. I'm sorry that I lowered the class of this show a little bit. I'm sorry. But either way,
Dave,
such a thing is not possible.
It's not possible. We've reached a lot lower with this one when we talked about with New Japan, especially with this one.
Yeah, just wait until we talk about next year's G1 Climax The jokes write themselves.
The joke is right in the name.
The joke is in the name.
Exactly.
But to go on to my original main point, sorry. But she is arguably the most athletic woman on the roster, period. I don't care how genetically superior Charlotte is. She is so athletic. She adds such a different... I mean, I hate the stupid house gimmick dynamic with all the color and the fluorescent stuff. That I can live without. But her ability... I mean, she's making the gimmick work. Don't get me wrong. But she adds something so different to... not only to SmackDown's women's division, but to the women's division in WWE as a whole, I think.
I can see that.
Yeah, and she has a dynamic. I wouldn't be even mad if she won the title. But Alexa Bliss has been working at this so hard that it's going pretty good.
Yeah. In that point, we'll just move on to the topics of discussion, and I've only have two, and they're going to be quick. And one is obvious. One is going to be the second one. The first one is, I guess we kind of answered it earlier with the what's her name? Crazy Mary. But other than Crazy Mary, with what they're doing with Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Randy Orton, and Kane on SmackDown, do you see them adding another member to the Wyatts?
It's certainly possible at this point, just through your speculation alone. I think it's possible.
Okay. Yeah, Strowman's okay on his own. I'm okay with him that way. You just have to keep, I think, the original three there: Harper, Rowan, and Wyatt. Just add Sister Abigail, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is the one that's now the permanent go on the topic, which was the better show, Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
And once again, SmackDown takes it.
The Goldberg segment aside, okay, if you add the Goldberg segment, I think it's a tie. But as a general quality of the show overall,
I wouldn't.
SmackDown, absolutely.
Even with the Goldberg segment, like, it definitely helped Raw. But most, other than Jericho, Owens, Seth Rollins, and I'll even add Braun Strowman, because for me, and I think Jeff agreed with me last week when I said this, Braun Strowman's one of the most interesting things going on Raw. The rest of it is just nothing but filler. When you have a 6-man tag match with Mark Henry and the Golden Truth versus the Shining Stars and Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
There is just so much wasted time, and we keep saying it over and over, and everyone, the whole internet wrestling community is saying it's because of that third hour.
And I'll tell you what, that was really my experience watching Raw this week. As interesting as it was, I spent the entire time asking, "Where's Goldberg? When's Goldberg going to show up?" I think, as fun as it was to see Goldberg again, that should not be my feeling through the rest of the show.
It's like, finally,
which ultimately hurt it.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. That is exactly right.
But yeah, that's going to be an ongoing struggle.
With SmackDown, everything. There is, like, hell, I'm actually starting to get interested in the Wyatts versus Orton and Kane because, well, one thing, the difference between when it was Orton and Wyatt before, they had Eric Rowan, the jobber of the Wyatt family. Now you actually have a legit competitor with Luke Harper. So now I'm actually gained interest in that. Now they're playing the mind games with Kane and Orton. I like when Wyatt came out with in the casket with the druids that he stole from Undertaker. I like that they're even keeping that story alive. But yeah, there is to Baron Corbin destroying Jack Swagger. We all saw that coming. To James Ellsworth and AJ Styles again. That was seriously. And the 6-man tag with the Miz and the Spirit Squad versus Dolph Ziggler and Heath Slater and Rhino. Everything that is going on SmackDown, I am invested in. There is so much garbage on Raw that it makes me beg for them to call some people up from NXT to get rid of some of this waste.
It's just a matter of how they end up using it. That's all.
And I'm actually going to give another feelings on Raw, but I'm actually going to save that for a masterful thought, because it's the thing I have in my mind is a whole topic for another show of itself.
I don't doubt it.
I think we've gone on long enough with this week.
Oh yes, there was way too much to talk about, and a lot of it good. So, but you know what? Now we want to know what you think. The person listening to the show, what are your thoughts?
The people.
The people. Well,
the people listening to this show.
Well, that's only because I'm speaking to you. Yes, you. You know who you are.
Stop picking your nose, goddammit.
So what? Yeah, we see you, man. Don't make us come over there. So you know what? Do the right thing. Leave us a little comment on this video. If you like what you hear, give us a little thumbs up. Subscribe to us if you want to hear more. Of course, if you all follow us on Facebook, just leave a like for the Scholars of Wrestling show. And of course, for all the latest episode uploads and commentary, live commentary for each and every show, follow us on our personal Twitter machines. Our main page at ScholarsOW. Fool, where can they reach you at?
You can find me at The Avatar.
You can find me at I'm Robbie Rage, all one word. Dave, where can they reach you at? What's your Twitter?
They can reach me at parts unknown. Okay. You can reach me at the tag at Calypso426. That's spelled with a K. Yes, KALYPSO 426. Talk wrestling, gaming, whatever the hell you want to talk about. I generally talk about. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Brilliant.
And thank you, Dave, for showing up, coming short notice. But when we keep finding out that the aliens want to just keep Ryan and do whatever it is, the dirty things they do to him, yeah. Thank you for filling in that void.
No, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
So, before we get into too much explicit detail about that,
about Brian getting an anal probe.
Yes.
You're not
Look,
letting me take a huge dent.
Awesome.
Look, you know who we are already. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. See you all next week, gentlemen.
Da-na-na. Da-na-na.